let me just give a little bit of history, because I think it'll give us a good presence to because the club started in the 60s, but we didn't move to this location until 1975, just in the basement, and we started building this layout in 75. And then in 85, the people upstairs vacated, and we took over the upstairs and started the N-scale layout upstairs. And in 86, we bought the building. So we had a mortgage for 25 years, which we paid off a few years ago. And so we own the building. And the idea is to run trains in miniature, but like the real thing, with schedules. There's a computer that produces schedules of trains and cars to go in those trains, and we put them together and we run them with a dispatcher so we don't hit each other. And then we've tried to model the club on some reality, the layout. So this is Scarborough Junction, which was a station at Midland and Danforth Road that's no longer there. And this is an exact replica of that station. And what we've done is we've built what we call a bridge line between Hamilton and Montreal. So our trains start either in Hamilton or Montreal, and they run through here into Scarborough Junction. There's Scarborough Yard over there, and on and through. So the computer schedules the trains, and we run according to the schedule, and with the dispatcher giving us permission to proceed. So we've built a number of industries on the layout so that there are cars to be put into these industries and taken out, filled up and taken out or unloaded, and then on they go to another place, to another yard. So that's the idea behind the trains. So it's a number of we have about 22 members, and there's about 15 active, and we meet on Tuesdays down here and Thursdays upstairs. So yeah, so it's a good group of people and it's lots of fun. But let me show you a little bit more. We'll come down here. This is the other yard we have at the other end of the layout, which is called Henway, and it's in alphabetical order, so it's easy to remember the stations. So we have a yard to sort cars here, and then when you come down, again, this is a model of an old CP coaling tower here, and then one of the members, as you come down here, one of the members built this bridge here that one piece of wood at a time. He built all the vertical trusses and then set them up and then attach them together one stick at a time. So he built a curved bridge, which is really hard to do. And this has been here, this is a former member, it's been 20 years. We've had this bridge in place. Yeah, so it's pretty fun. And then when we have the open houses for the kids, we have various little things. There's a little dragon right in that corner there. You see the dragons? Yeah. And then there's there's a helicopter in the corner, and there's a guy on a parachuting there as well. And there's a scout camp group somewhere. I can't remember where it is. And then there's a U.S. submarine pops up in our little pond here just for fun. So just for the kids. Yeah. So that's a little bit about what the club and what we do. So it's an idea. People have different segments of the hobby they like. Some people like building cars, working on scenery, or running trains, or doing electrical work or electronic work. Because now today the engines, there's an electronic chip in every engine, and we have a controller, and we control each engine individually from every other engine. This part of the layout, that roundhouse, is only about a quarter of the old CNR roundhouse, on which now the CN Tower sits. So we've reproduced this exactly as the original roundhouse, but just a small piece of it because it was huge. It went all the way, almost all the way around. And the coaling tower is the old CN coaling tower down by the roundhouse where all the condos are. So in Toronto years ago in the 50s, all that area where all the condos are through north of the Gardiner and south of Front Street was all railroad property, and they used to have the CP had a big roundhouse and a coaling tower and everything. So both railroads had yards there, and they had passenger cars and freight cars. Yeah, so we've tried to model some of the things that are familiar to people who are older and remember those days, but I don't even remember. It's too long ago even for me. I was too little. So the idea is to make some things look, pick a bit of history out and use it at the same time, run trains for 1958 that are prototypical. So the engines here and the cars are all appropriate to the period of 1958, which was the point at which the railroads were converting from steam engines to diesel engines. So we're in that process. So we've modeled that period so we can run both. We call it's N scale, so it's half the size of the engine downstairs, and we are modeling the Appalachians in the United States, so Pennsylvania, West Virginia in the 1970s. So the idea is to run long trains, 60, 70 cars, and through a very mountainous scenery. So this is just part of the layout, and one of our members, Joe, has done all the work on this over 2 years. This whole section here and down front, and we're not quite finished. You can still see the styrofoam, but you build with styrofoam, and then you cut it, mark it, and then you color it, glue it on, and then glue all your trees on top of it, and then put all your details, your buildings, your cars, and then and it makes much more realistic. So the trains here take an hour to go through the layout. It takes that long to get through. There's so much trackage. Yeah.
So you mentioned that you have dispatchers and
Yes.
have people who know a lot about the electricity.
Right.
So were they actually the real workers there, or?
No, actually, we don't have a member who was actually with a railroad. So we're all hobbyists who just follow the railroads in miniature. So yeah. But some of our people are engineers, so electric engineers, so they can help us do the wiring, because it's quite complex with all the electronic controls we have. This layout is also electronic control, so there's a electronic chip in each engine, and each person is controlling their own train. So, and they can't see it now because they're so it's pretty interesting to do. Here we don't dispatch. What we try to do is run for a show. We try to just run trains one after the other on the layout so people see the trains. So people want to see the trains for the shows, right? So yeah, the kids really love to see the trains going. So that's what we do up here. Yeah.
They had to do that with the GO train, with the Matthews and connecting that. Those are great colors, eh? I almost bought one of the CN ones. Yes, because my friends at Credit Value go, Dave, we have a deal for you. You know the standard whole thing. Oh, did you fix the light bulbs? No. I have.
So they're gonna change it.
Not to change that. If you want to go in this one, you probably don't. Because that's just this track here. If you push this one, it's on. If the thing is, if you carry on with the keys, maybe someone. There's one here that does the same thing as this one. So these are the two tracks coming around the corner. Yeah, Harry's got envy. Okay. You went around, I thought you were staying.
Embarking and we'll move him out of the way. Yeah. Yes, he's embarking in industrial.
Oh. I wanted to get him to give me money.
You always want money.
That's why he's the president. He signs checks. I'm quite happy with him. I'll leave them percolating there until I get their third one going. There's time. I know we were admiring you on TV.
We were. Well, it's actually this is Scarborough.
Cut off mine, no? 是一点钱来玩，我想。They let you.
Well, he needs to. Three? We'll leave it on track 3 there.
Are you talking to stuff, right? Back that thing up. Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, I saw it.
Anything going? Nope.
Clean up aisle 9. Hey, Stewie. Stewie. Where's your train?
This is not even my train.
Well, you're apparently need a cleanup crew according. I promise I don't have any cars to go with it.
Okay, we just
We fixed everything. Not like the dog you were just talking about.
Tom?
Thank you.